going on, Speed Shifter? What's happening? So here, let me, I gotta go in here and change some stuff while we're waiting for folks to come in, I guess. Let me go to YouTubes and see what we got shaking on the tubes. Switch account. No, we won't do that. I'll just bring it up on the phone. Easier that way. What's up, CB? What's going on? Let's get the YouTube up so we get the questions and stuff on here. And we'll set this up. Try to find a load on this stupid S&I load board. Well, we got a lot of Schneider guys coming. We got a lot of Schneider guys came over here in the last few weeks. Because I guess, they were talking about the loads canceling and doing all that good stuff, and not many of them over, different loads on everything. So we do have that going on. Just signed a guy up the other day. Trying to get this, get that name off there. There we go. What's up, Jose? Don? Quick Hit? James G? So I started out the earlier broadcast talking about a guy, because we use Thunder Funding, best funding company in the business, in my opinion. Just like always, you want to use Thunder Funding, great fuel cards, and a lot more. Right up top, call them up, let them know we sent you. 123 load board right down at the bottom. These guys sponsoring the channel, right? We're here. There's the discount codes, all that good stuff, and we also have AXISTMS and trucking office down below too, all that good stuff, and the driver file program, and everything else that we use to run this operation in a efficient manner. Now, I had a guy kept saying, "Hey, you're teaching it wrong," because for some reason they want, they listen to satellite radio to those folks, and they listen to some other people on YouTube, and they think that factoring is a percentage, an interest rate, and it is not. So they skew it to, just like in politics, right? They'll skew it to make it what they want it to be, right? What they want it to be. And it's not a interest rate. Because if it was interest rate, when you got past 30 days, they would charge you again, right? You'd get charged again, which you do not. It is a fee. It is no different than an ATM fee. And those same folks will sit there and try to put an interest rate on ATM fee. Well, you're paying 3,000% to get your money and all this garbage, right? It's garbage. It's a fee. That's the best analogy you can put it at. If you go up to that ATM machine and you stick in your card and it tells you it's $3 to get your money, whether you get $5 out or $1,000 out, still $3. Now, what you pay for that fee on your money depends on how much you get out, right? And you can do the math. Just take a calculator, do the math. If you got $5 out, take your $3, divide it by, by $5, and you're looking at 60 cents on the dollar. That's what they're charging to get your $5. That's your fee. Compared to if a guy got $1,000 out, he's at like 0.002 of a cent. He's at, 2/1000th of a cent or whatever, right? So he's paying a lot less of a fee to get his money than the same person at that same ATM. So factoring is a fee. And to prove it, because, this gentleman says, well, if you do $10,000 a month, they just keep rolling that same $10,000 over. You're never getting more than that. So when they're charging you, 3%, let's say, 12 months, 36%, you're paying $3,600. It's a 36% fee because you're only doing $10,000. That's false right there to begin with, because if you're only doing $10,000 a month, you're going broke. Right? We can all agree you're going broke. Just saying. So we have 66 or 67 unpaid rate cons right now, and half of those are past 31 days. 31 to 60 is where they fall. And the other half is coming up, anywhere from 1 to 30 days. So once they go past 30, they fall into that other category. So more likely you're going to have half or more of your rate cons are going to go past their 30 days. So their analogy is totally way off base. But, it is what it is, right? And we don't care what they do in business, so why should they care what we do in business? If you don't want to factor, don't factor. But I'm not going to sit there and let some of these brokers hold our cash flow up, because we don't even know those folks. Don't even know them. And there's a lot of big brokers that are now getting bad credit ratings where we will not haul for them because they went into the red. But see, if you don't use a factoring company, or you don't have access to a credit check on brokers, which most of these guys don't do that. They just go by whatever, dad says or whatever, right? They get themselves in trouble. Like with 123 Load Board, you click on credit report, you see the TransCredit credit report, right, on these brokers, these loads. So just because a funding company that's linked to a load board says that they give them 100%, they might not be 100%. Do your homework. And it only takes 1 or 2 of those to do. Speed shifter, when it says non-recourse, what that means is, it means that if that brokerage goes out of business, because we've had some letters come in from lawyers saying that this certain brokers went out of business, and if you haven't been paid, blah blah. So if they go bankrupt, then that's non-recourse. But if they just don't pay, then the funding companies will do a chargeback, and then of course you'll go after their bond, and hopefully you can collect it off their insurance. But I look at it this way: for that small percentage, you get a great fuel card. You don't have to sit there and go to another company like Nastic or Mudflap and all these other ones and get their fuel cards. You get it right from the funding company, Thunder Funding. You get the EFS fuel card, great fuel discounts. There's an app where you can see all your discounts across the United States, all that good stuff. You can see your fuel purchases, everything right in that same app. So it's really good stuff. Plus, they're your billing and collections department. And a lot of times, they'll collect on every single bill because they will send that broker a nastygram saying, look, we are going to ding your credit. See, here's the thing. When a big brokerage, think about this. Let's say a big brokerage owes a factoring company $200,000. And they're past the time to pay. Do you think they're going to pay the single owner operator his little $1,000 check or $500 check or $5,000 check, whatever that load was? No, they don't care about them because they can't do nothing to their credit. They are going to pay the big factoring companies first before they pay the one-man show. Right? So let's take a look at some good old stuff here. 123 Load Board. Let's take and see what's going on. Columbus, Ohio, we'll do 150-mile radius. Van loads. We'll sort it by rate per mile. $789, $300, $563. So you can still get $358 Ohio to PA. You can still get some really good short-paying loads per mile in this environment, right? We all know it's a bad environment, but you can still get some pretty good short-paying loads. Now, if we come over here, we could take a look at the market rates, and we can see that rate check get at 274 in average, cargo chief 274 in green screens 307 to 345. So they are a little higher, which is nice, and it's aluminum cans. Well, there's the problem there, right? That's why it's a little higher than what's over here. It's because you need a special trailer. You need a plate trailer to haul it. You don't have a plate trailer, you can't haul it. So they might be having trouble finding a plate trailer. Houston, Ohio to Franklin, Indiana, 347, $500. Atlanta short haul inside the Southeast region is still doing good too also. What's up? My name is Nobody. How's it going? The Hool. What's up? 341 to West Virginia, Cleveland, Ohio. I can scroll in on these. 331 to Buffalo, and so forth. So we'll go to it, Hot Atlanta. I don't know if I got it down here already. No, we'll have to do another one. New search. Atlanta, Georgia. 150 van, let's search. 1538, $400. These are short stuff, right? 403 a mile, $600 Georgia to Alabama. 700 Fort Payne to Macon. 825, 342 a mile. And we can scroll on down. 1500 Lenore City to Atlanta, 297 a mile. Or I mean, Aiken, South Carolina, Grafton, West Virginia, 298 a mile, 297, 565 Lenore to Atlanta. So there you go. Things get muddy whether a broker is a carrier owes money. Right, CDN. You know, carriers can owe brokers money too, right? It just depends. I mean, if you have a claim, and if the claim, just like insurances, right? So you could sit there, you could go against a broker's bond. Doesn't mean you're going to get the money. Broker can still deny it, right? And the insurance company believes the broker, and they just don't pay. There's no way to get the money. If the insurance company doesn't want to pay you, because they say, well, you know, we find fault too or whatever, you're not going to get paid. So just like on a claim, if your insurance company tells that broker, sorry broker, they did everything right, here's all the pictures, shipper's fault, not the carrier's fault, we're not paying, then guess what? They're not paying. Then they'll tell the carrier, you got to pay. The carrier says, no, you don't have to pay because we're cleared of it. Insurance company says we don't have to pay because there you go. And then they know they can't take it to court, because if you go to court and the insurance companies sit there and say, you know, they're not going to cover it because of here's the reasons, it just gets swept under, right? So what happens is the broker doesn't pay the carrier for that run, offsets it with that money because, you know, they're also insured. So it's just a shuffle game, right, CDN? It's pretty much a shuffle game, depending on where it is. And then, you know, if you're good with that broker, and more than likely they're not going to stop you from hauling loads, you're just not going to get paid for that load. They're going to take that money and they're going to apply it to their deductibles or whatever, right? That's what's going to happen. Josh the Vegan, what's going on? Not much, Josh. We are doing a little 1, 2, 3 load board, right? Lauren and the crew make this beautiful product for us to use, and by far on the mobile, it's the best, right? Because their mobile version looks just like the desktop version, so it's great. My brokerage has been dealing with, on my loads, is 5-digit owing from customer. There were damages that carrier declined to accept. Our brokerage had to send nasty letters to consignee to try to collect. Right, because you got to find out what happened. Because a lot of times, consignees will damage the freight when they unload the trailer, and then they try to blame it on the carrier. So it's hard to prove, right? It's hard to prove. For instance, now ELDs are a great thing, because let's say the load, the shipper did not put the bags in, right? They don't allow the carrier on the dock. Let's look at this scenario. All right, we'll go to the full screen. Let's look at this scenario. Let's say you go pick up a load, and they won't let you on the dock. They won't let you supervise the loading, none of that. So, okay, you're on the dock. You can't get on the dock, so you're in their truck. They say, sit in your truck until we're done. Well, they're done, and they say, pull away and put your 2 straps on the back. Well, you can't see what they did to the rest of the trailer. So let's say they left gaps, or they didn't wrap their product right. And when you get there, it's all shifted or tilted over. And they're going to say, well, the driver must have done it, right? He must have took corners too fast or slammed on his brakes and all this good stuff. Well, the ELD, like Samsara, you go in there and say, any events happen on this strip? 0. No harsh brake, no hard turns. That exonerates that driver because you show, look, didn't have none of this on this trip. So how could that freight do that unless it wasn't loaded properly? Right? And then the shipper has to go to the receiver because the receiver could take that stuff off and their forklift driver could damage it, or they might have some damaged stuff from before and stick it back on the trailer. Not saying they do that because that's not, that wouldn't be very ethical, now would it? Well, we all know grocery warehouses, what happens. Because these lumper services, right? They want to be at fault for it. So, don't you ever wonder, they put the stuff back on, you look at, say, hey, this ain't the stuff's on there. Yeah, it is. Because some of the cans are rusted and things, so how long has that been sitting around somewhere? It does happen. Our guys book loads off this board all the time. Look at this new load, 21 seconds. I mean, for $35, you don't get this at the DAT. They don't give you this update right, by itself without paying the big bucks. And they sure aren't going to give you this right here. Because even if you take this and you add in Cargo Chief, right? You add in Cargo Chief, it's still way under that. I think it'd be around $55 a month or so, something like that. And you get 3 rate checks, right? So if you look at Cargo Chief, and it'll tell you what it does. It's the market rate estimates are based on the highest, middle, and lowest rates gathered from actual freight bills rather than quoted prices. So instead of quoted prices, they're getting it right from the rate cons, and then they average it out and show you the lowest to the largest, and it's an average. So this is, tells you exactly what's going on. So if you don't have Cargo Chief, you can get it. Call 123 Load Board up, right? And you can have it added to your subscription. This comes right from actual freight bills, which is a nice feature, right? It's a nice feature. They just give you more tools. So here goes another thing. You don't have to sit there and pay certain companies out there lots of money every month for analytical tools to let you know what the spot market's doing or what the van division's doing and this. And then they'll say, oh, we can get you 30% more money. No, you can't. Are you negotiating it? No, they're not. They can't get you 30% more money. They just can't, right? Because I could sit here and use this platform, right? I can use this platform right here and know exactly what they're going to show me just off of this data. I could sit here and I can look at the heat map and see what's going on in the country and see how many loads are coming in and coming out. And you can do your own data just by looking at the map. And you say, okay, this is red area, this is green area, this is yellow area, and you'll know the lanes. And then you can sit there and click on these different loads, go into those lanes, and you can sit there and tell your own. You don't need to pay that super big money because it's not going to get you anything. Because let's face it, most people that watch this channel are owner-operators with one truck. And some might have more. But if you only have one truck, you don't need those other companies out there. You don't need that huge bill that basically, as a single guy, you're going to pay for when it's really set up for companies that have their own freight, right? They have a bunch of customers. and they're looking for, backhaul lanes and things like that, and they get all hipped up on this analytical data, right? And the data is only as good as wherever they get it from. That's the thing. What's up, Aaron? That's the thing. It's only as good as where they get it from. And where do you know where they get it from? What's the source? And is the source accurate? Just checking. Then CDN says, then the customer is refusing to pay the balance owing, which is why we had to go to the consignee. In this case, there was, this is before that. So in this case, there was damages visible to equipment, but consignee who signed POD failed to put any notes on the POD. Carrier said POD signed cleaned. I credited a customer for over 2,500 repairs. Right, I mean, everybody does what they have to do, right? Brokers will pay for things to keep their customer happy if they don't get it from the carrier, and the carriers do the same thing, right? We will take and do stuff also to keep the customers happy. Everybody does it. It's just business. It's just business. James G says shipper load and count. Right, James. I mean, you cannot be held responsible for nothing in that trailer if you're not allowed a dock to count it and supervise the loading of it. Because, if you have stuff that goes in there, let's say furniture. You have furniture that goes in there, and one piece of furniture, if they have a double stack, let's say, and it's a little shifty, you say, hey, if you were able to watch them, you can say, hey, hold on a minute, I'm going to put a strap across that top one right there, right? On the same wall, strap it to the wall. Stop it from shifting, stop it from going anywhere. If they don't allow you to do that, you're not on there to see that, and that shifts and falls and breaks or scratches the piece in front of it. It's not your fault because you're not in there to load it. Now, most shippers should know how to load their stuff, but we all know that's not the case. And, it's not the broker's fault, right? Because they're not there. They don't know. Because the shipper could tell the broker, oh, no, we allow them on the dock. Oh, no. Because they'll lie, right? They'll lie to the broker. No, we allow them on the dock. And ever since COVID, most places don't even allow you in the door anymore, hardly. And then some of them, you can't even get past the cage, right? They treat you like you're in a penitentiary. You walk in, you can't get past the cage. You got to wait for somebody to show up and, stick stuff through the little hole like you're going to do something. So, yeah. So in Atlanta, there's a lot of good loads. This one here just popped up 3 minutes ago. 1560, 270 a mile, 2200 back up to PA, 270 a mile. So the rates, they're there. Are they great? No. Are they doable? Yes. And then that's where we get into all this stuff about cheap freight, right? What's cheap freight? I don't even like going on Facebook anymore and these other ones and make comments, right? I made a comment and then somebody blamed the low rates on this channel, right? This channel. Because I told them, hey, every business has a different cost. And you can't get mad at the man or woman that has a business that they can operate efficiently, effectively, for a less price than you. Can't get mad at those individuals. They're just doing business better. So what's cheap to you might not be cheap to them. So therefore, and is because, he doesn't like the cost per day method. Right? They don't understand the cost per day method. They say, that's what causes the market swings. And it's like, are you crazy? Most people don't even know what cost per day is. They don't. Most people don't even know how to figure it up. There's other channels out there that take what I talk about, cost per day, and then they they reverb it back to their audience, and they're saying, "Oh, you're the smartest thing since sliced bread, man. This is great," but they didn't even say it right. They didn't even get it right. I watched the video. They messed it all up. I didn't say nothing though. To each is their own. But if you're going to do it, they ought to do it right at least. At least. So there are a lot of good loads out of Georgia that have decent prices. Let's go look. Let's go look way over in Utah. Yes, state per mile. Sure, we pay to keep customers happy, but over time you have to make up those losses, just like when a hosts a big barbecue. Where does that money come from? Exactly, CDN, exactly. Somewhere down the line, right? Shannon Thomas Trucking, I am here. Now let us begin. I don't know what you're talking about. I am trucking and banking. There you go. And of course, Snowlord wants steak per mile. It's insane to me that they know what they want to gross a week, but don't think to divide by 7. That's so true, CB. That is so true. They can't divide anything, right? It's just, it's kind of comical, right? But out of Salt Lake area, you got $2.89 a mile to Idaho, $2.39, $2.39, $2.39. Are they the great rates? No, not really, but they're better than what they were, right? Venture Connect is probably, and the reason why I like, this 1, 2, 3, it's great because you got the rate checks here, but if you come down here to credit rating, right, you can see credit ratings on these folks. And you can hit credit report, and then it'll take you to credit report. And so this will show, right here, this will show on Thunder, it's A rating, 41 history, 40 last 90 days, 40 last 6 days, 1,278 rate cons through there, 110 in the last 90 days, and 88 in the last 60. And the last payment was March 17th of 2022. So it kind of gives all of the info of what went through Thunder Funding and how they pay. Just so if you haven't ever seen that before, there you go. And I always like to use this thing for the load planner. I like the load planner just to see what's going on. Stuart, the hobby trucker, what's going on? Just do what everyone else won't do, and you will be just fine, people. Trucking ain't rocket science, but we sure like to make it sound like it is. Yeah, you got all kinds of people, right? Trying to justify the way they do business and everything. I share what I've learned over 30 plus years. Can it be done different? Sure it can. I gotta take this, man. This is the boss. We gotta put this. Might have been pocket dialed. Hold on. That's right, James G. Rate influencer. Pigtail says poor business owners always look for the reasons for their failures and never accept personal responsibility for their business decisions. That's true. That's another true statement. Very true. Man, we got more stuff going on. We get so many phone calls, we can't even hardly do videos anymore. What can a carrier do like yours, like trucking, to prevent this from happening? To prevent what from happening? Man, you gotta love life, folks. You know, you get pocket dial. You know, I'm bummed up. You know, if you watched Shannon's video, everybody knows that I'm banged up. You know, I got my ankle brace thing going and all this good stuff. My legs wrapped up. Got my cane right here, and there's crutches back there. Hopefully, we won't have to have surgery. Hopefully, we'll see. Who knows? We'll probably have to go get another CAT scan done of the ankle, but that's if it's not feeling better in another week. They said give it 2 to 3 weeks, maybe 4 weeks. If the stuff isn't getting better, come back. They will rescan and then, you know, figure out what they'll do next. But all you can do is just pray and go from there. But hey, we're able to hobble, right? We can hobble. So we're on the road to recovery, right? Brokers assigning loads to owner-operators because of service failures, safety scores, etc. I have a few friends at another carrier, and they can't book loads hardly. Well, Speed Shifter, that's probably a carrier that has 2 of the same letters with a number in between them. That could be a carrier. Well, see, then, Fravor, if I told you how it happened, you'd probably laugh. So you know, we'll keep that on the down low, how that happened. So there you go, Shannon. Now you know how the leg is. Sore. I ice it up, you know, every night. 20 minutes on, hour to, you know, back and forth. After the day's over, I try to keep it elevated during the day, so it's helping. Yes, pigtail. That we will go with that. We will go with that. Let's see if there's any Frankfurt, Indiana to Ohio, and these dates are wrong. So let's see what's going on, and try to pick one that we already have here. St. Louis. Let's look at St. Louis area. Why not? $2.69 a mile. That's the highest rate per mile left for today out of there. So that area is a little soft, right? It's a little soft. Thank you, Speed Shifter, and everybody that hopes that I have a fast recovery. My name is Nobody, all that good stuff. And come on, STT. What do you think? What do you think? Teenagers, can you get them to do anything? In today's world, can you get teenagers to do anything? Can you? It's kind of like trying to get Dee Dee to do something, right? They don't listen. Pigtail wasn't me, it was the mafia wanting their money for Shannon's truck. Snorlord, you're funny. But I'm still waiting for that coffee, Snorlord, and you still never sent it to me. But that's okay. It's okay. And hey, Shannon loves her truck. That truck's rolling down the road. And I don't care what anybody says, but I used to like these other trucks, right? Freightliner, you know, the classics and all that, and the Kenworths and the Peterbilts, and, you know, Volvo. I drove Volvo for a long time. But when I first got in that LT International, the one I bought, it only had 20,000 miles on it. And then I lease purchased it to one of our drivers. And then he paid for it. Then he sold it to another one of our drivers. I was going out shopping to try to fast pace STT's business plan. Without her knowledge, of course, right? Trying to fast pace that business plan. So I went out and looked at Volvo. Of course, couldn't get one, right? Well, wow, we can get some thunder. We gonna get some rain.
It's hailing. We're done with that.
It's hailing? Oh, well.
I guess it's on her home.
So it must have been because we looked at this Mac. And the Macs, they look good from the outside, but man, they're awful small on the inside. And the windows stink, right? They stink. So I drove past, because I was in Grand Rapids. Man, there's dealers everywhere. So looked at cameras, I drove by the International, had a brand new one sitting out front. So I went and looked at that. And by the time I got around the block driving it, it was sold. I said, that's fine. We're out of here. So I was getting ready to leave, and the guy said, we got one out back. I'll show you this one out back. It's fully loaded, owner-operator spec. The guy ordered it and didn't want to pick it up. So I picked it up, right? And I says, hey, here you go, right? 6 year, 600,000 mile warranty, bumper to bumper. Both warranties, 6 year, 600,000 chassis and that. So pretty much everything, including light bulbs, right? Except for your belts and your oil changes or whatever. But great warranty and diamond spec, leather, everything, right? Everything's good. Just huge room in those trucks. They really know how to set up sleeper up for the room and effectiveness of cabinets and things like that. But and you'll see. I mean, she'll do another whole video of the inside of that. But I'm gonna have to go try to do some stuff here and help. So it's gonna get really loud in here because kids are coming home from school and everything. So yeah, 6 years, 600,000. Wow, sounds great. Yep, it's a great warranty. Great warranty. And if you look at the X15 motors under light duty and everything, you can go up to 75,000 on the oil changes and still have the warranty. But I'd tell 50,000 mile warranty. Oh, you should do a lot more. No, oils last a long time, folks. If you change the oil sooner than what it should be changed, because if the viscosity is still good, you're just wasting money. But anyway, we'll see y'all later. Thanks for watching. Snowlord, you can go live, or Shannon, you can go live, or Pigtail, or somebody go live. We'll see you.